Hi there, and we are Geeks Assembled. Today we are talking about an Ealing comedy from 1955 with an ensemble cast starring Alec Guinness, Peter Sellers, Cecil Parker, Herbert Lom, and also there's a cameo from Frankie Howard, Kenny Connor in this as well. We are talking the Ladykillers. So we'll go around our little group here of opening thoughts about this movie. As I say, it's the 1955 original version. It's not the remake from the 2000s. So you'd be thankful for that. Let's go to Beef Dad. We haven't seen him for a few weeks. What's your opening thoughts on this movie, Beef Dad?
Well, one of the joys for me was I'd watched it many times on the television in the sort of when I was a child, and of course it was always in black and white on the television there, but this is actually in colour, which was a pleasant surprise for me. Something I hadn't watched for many years. Yeah, Alec Guinness is brilliant as always. It was one of Herbert Lom's earlier films, and I did not enjoy his performance in this, but it's not a pleasant character. And of course, they all get together. They are a group that are planning a robbery, and they go and well, Alec Guinness hires a room in an old lady's house, Mrs. Wilberforce, played by Katie Johnson, who is just absolutely brilliant in this. She's superb. And they are supposedly a string quintet who will all go to the house to rehearse. But they don't. They all go to the house to plan the robbery and take the money there afterwards. But she finds out about it. And it's quite funny. It is quite funny. There are some very comical parts in this. Of course, Frankie Howard playing the barrow boy, who's mistreating a horse, and she goes mad at him. And of course, she's always visiting the police station, so she talks to the superintendent every time, who was played by Jack Warner, who also played Dixon of Dock Green. But yeah, you've mentioned that there are a few cameos, like Kenneth Connor playing the cab driver. But also you got Stratford Johns, who plays a security guard, which is quite funny when you consider that he ended up playing policeman. Sang Kidd was in it, playing a cab driver. And bless him, Arthur Mallard, one of my favourites from the 50s and 60s. Yeah, but it was great. They did a brilliant robbery. A very clever way of getting the money, a clever idea of getting the money away from the van that they robbed all the money from. And in fact, leaving it down to the old lady, well, Mrs. Wilberforce, to actually go and pick up the trunk that had all the money in it from the station, because she thought it was Professor Marcus's luggage. So she got it away and she got it back to their place. But then later on they decide, well, some of them decide that they're going to kill her because she now knows too much. And it gets quite unpleasant. And it's Herbert Lom particularly who wants to kill her, which is one of the reasons why I absolutely dislike the character. I suppose he must have played it really well, because I absolutely hate absolutely hate Louis in this. Cecil Parker, yeah, great as Claude, well, Major Courtney, and Peter Sellers, when he gets the short match, he doesn't want to kill her. And of course there's Danny Green, the big fella. He is absolutely anti everybody killing her, and refers to her as mum. And he's just brilliant in this. But it's amazing how many people get killed at the end. In fact, basically all of them. All of them except the old lady get killed. Brilliantly done, brilliantly directed, and superbly written. Loved every minute of it.
I just had a few problem there. Yeah, thanks for that, Beef Dad. Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. And I agree with if you dislike the character so much, the actor must have done a good job. Stephen, what's your opening thoughts on the Ladykillers?
Yeah, very good. The main character I thought was what's his name? Who's knocked the door? I got his name now. Alec Guinness. Yeah, brilliant portrayal by him. The where her house is, I like the railway lines that you cannot film like that in a modern movie, because all the steam engines of that time were passing. And I recently, when I viewed the film today, looking at the locations, the lady's house, Mrs. Wilberforce's house, not only by St. I can't pronounce it, station, but was 1.5 miles to the north, placed over the Copenhagen Tunnel. Yeah, I like the Herbert Long was very young in this. He looked very young anyway. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the what happened in the movie and all that. The part where Alec Guinness is at the door, you just see the shape of him. Looks very spooky to me when I first seen that clip,
Yeah, it is the opening scene before he makes his appearance, where he's walking around outside the windows and stuff like that. It's very eerily. Let's go over to the Sofa of Love, to Susan and Alex.
Thanks. I really love Alec Guinness's stuff. I've loved everything that I've seen him in. He's amazing. And the first thing I ever saw him in was a little number called Star Trek for A New Hope. And then after that, I was, completely sold on him. I was 8 years old when I saw that. I was in South America. And the Brazilian actor who was playing Obi-Wan Kenobi sounded a lot like him, actually. It was a really good impression or interpretation. It was great. It was awesome. Anyway, now I've seen quite a bit of stuff, especially with Thieves Assembled, because we've done the one in the garden. What's it called? You get a movie with him in the garden and the coronet and or whatever. Help me, fellows.
Canned hats and coronets.
Kind Hearts and Cornets.
Yeah, and it was fall, wasn't it? So-
We'd get there to it.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you would. You said Star Trek.
I need more coffee, apparently.
No.
No, so let us just move on from there. Like, I thought this was great. I thought that the heist that they did was really well planned. I thought that their musical interludes, supposed musical interludes, were hilarious. Oh my gosh, she just was like enraptured by these tunes that was coming from downstairs, all from a nice phonograph and not from these fellows. They all came in with their little instrument cases and then went right into the planning room. Anyway, fun stuff. And let's see. I loved all the little biddies at the end who came to visit the house lady, the house arm. And they were just too precious, and it was cool that she found out, and it was cool how she survived the incident. And yeah, there were a lot of people that I recognized in it, a lot of really amazing actors. It's okay, Dad. What do you need here? Here, Alex will talk while you sort it out.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot that there was a lot of famous actors, as we just mentioned, and they were famous in other TV shows. And then you had Herbert Lom and Peter Sellers, who ended up being in the Pink Panther series about 20 years later, something like that. It was a little weird seeing Alec Guinness with the false teeth, but I know that he was a good actor. I knew my parents, even though they're Spanish and all that, they knew that British stuff was better than American stuff, so they didn't need to find out through Star Wars that he was they knew before.
I'm not as cool as your mom.
In any case, yeah, the movie itself I didn't really seem to like too much. The acting is wonderful, and the dialogue is pretty good. And considering this is from the 50s, it's very modern. Yeah, I didn't like the new version. The new version was very funny, and way too many plot conveniences in the middle. This one, the original, is very good. Great acting. Got a great set. And the ending was actually kind of gruesome. It is ironic that at the end, the cops ended up siding with the criminals in a way. Because of the old canard French philosophy that you become what you fight against, or you become what you complain against. So it's a very interesting movie in the sense of how they act and face and the philosophy of it, which is another thing that the remake forgot. So it's not just a bunch of tricks and stunts and plots. You have the philosophy of the characters. The good characters and the bad characters have a very similar philosophy. It's kind of funny that this money got stolen. Everybody's kind of like, oh, let it stay stolen. Let it stay disappeared, so to speak. And it's like, huh?
What?
Because most companies wouldn't be doing that nowadays. They wouldn't be going, oh, we lost it, but 10,000 or whatever the amount was. They wouldn't just go, oh, never mind.
Because insurance, they drive up their insurance rates, not only.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, 50 plus years has changed since this movie, but it is kind of funny how they're going, just kind of forget about it. It's too much work. Huh?
No, you're back. You're back. You froze for a bit there.
I said it's kind of funny how in the movie that the criminals and the policemen are kind of like, oh, who cares about the money? It's too much work to correct it. And I was like, that wouldn't be happening nowadays. Nowadays, they tell everybody what to account for. every single dollar, every single thing. Pictures of just
Yep.
trying to say, oh, well, everyone must
And, and,
be.
and it wouldn't just drive up the insurance rates. It would, you know, it causes problems for businesses at this point, at this juncture. But this is just a bit of a caper heist and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love this. I love this movie. I mean, I like all classic comedy movies. But this is Peter Sellers' first major film role, and as Beef Dad said, this was mostly one of Airport Lom's earlier film roles as well. And then you've got Cecil Parker. Well, he was a stalwart in the sort of era of playing either caddish characters or military types or a mixture of both. And you know, if you had Cecil Parker in a movie, you knew what he was going to get, and he always delivered. And playing the Colonel, he was, brilliant character actor. Alec Guinness, false teeth, wig, hair, but he wasn't the first person who was up for this role. It was going to be Alistair Sim, and as you can see, people say Alec Guinness looks like he based the character and the makeup on Alistair Sim's face, because you can very similarities with the teeth, the eyes. So you can see that. But Alec Guinness, one of the greatest actors what's ever lived, in my opinion. Very, as it said, eerie at the beginning when he stood outside the house, but also as well very dark when I can't remember which character accused him of being a bit loopy, and you saw the look in his face, and then you realise that Professor Marcus was quite insane. It was insane. It was mentally, it was not all there. And by the end of the movie, you could see he wasn't. So he may have escaped from the loony bin. We don't know. And for the Mrs. Wilberforce, Katie Johnson. Wow, what a brilliant part. I mean, she only sort of became successful. She'd been acting for years and years and years, but this was the film what sort of brought her a name to recognition, and she won a British Academy Award for this part, as far as I can remember, the best actress. It's a shame, it was late in her life. I mean, it was 2 or 3 years later she passed away, but she won an award for the portrayal of Mrs. Wilberforce. So yeah, all in all, I say it's a good movie. There's good, it's of its day, and when people try to make things like this, they always fall flat on the face. For example, the 2004 remake starring Tom Hanks, and that's all I'm going to say on that matter. But yeah, it's Ealing comedy, as Beef Dad said as well. One of the few Ealing comedies what's in colour, because most of them are black and white. So it is good to see a bit of colour with this one. And yeah, it's a very good story. As it's been said, well thought out plan, robbery plan. I mean, they could have got away with it. That could have happened in real life, the way it was planned. But amazing cast, amazing story, and it didn't seem to drag for me. So it just went steady, and there was, it's pure enjoyment from beginning to end for me. So favourite moments or things what you weren't too keen on, we'll go back to Beef Dad.
Sorry, my cat's decided to bring in a mouse and she's chasing it around.
I thought that might have been it. I saw the look on your face.
Yeah, I loved, one of my favourite bits is where the parrot escapes. And that is brilliant. And they're trying to get it sort of climbing out of windows. And eventually it ends up just sitting on Peter Sellers' arm. It was just wonderful. Yeah, I loved her parrots, and she was so good with them. They had originally belonged to her husband, and The as I say, one of my least favourite bits was one of the bits that really sort of got me annoyed is when Herbert Lom decides that he wants one of them to kill the old lady, and he's got matches. One of them has been cut, broken off short, and whoever straws the short one gets to kill her. And it really is just that struck me as so very unpleasant. But I love the way that every time she went to the police station, she left her umbrella there. And that, you know, a real bit of eccentricity is just totally magic. But after she'd been told that she could keep all that money, which they obviously weren't sure, they thought that she was a bit eccentric and that a lot of this might have been imagination and a dream for her. And so when she left her umbrella there and the sergeant came out with it to try and give it to her, she said, "No, I've never really liked that one. I can buy myself quite a few nice ones now." And yeah, but bless her, on her way back, now she's got this money. She gives money to a guy who is basically exhibiting a picture and trying to earn money from it. Yeah, and you just know to yourself that her having all that money, she's going to spread it around to make poor people's life happier.
Yeah.
And yeah, your heart goes out to her because of that. So yeah, and the other bit that really gets me is when Alec Guinness is trying to kill Herbert Lom, manages to lever the ladder, the metal ladder that he's standing on, that goes over the railway tracks, and Herbert Lom ends up smashing down into a train. But then the funny bit is the signal comes down and whacks him, and he falls down into the train. That was just so funny and so cleverly done. Yeah, I loved it. So that's my bits.
Yeah, if you'd never seen the film before, you wouldn't expect that to happen to that character at the end there. You know, you think, oh yeah, he's the one who's going to get all the money, but no, he goes straight down into onto the carriage. Yeah, brilliant moment that. Yeah, Stephen.
Yeah, the part I like is the parrot. I did like the parrot in it. When the lady of the house opens the door and you see them, you know, they just come out of the car. That was filmed miles away. So when she's opening the door, it was filmed not exactly where it's supposed to be, like, you know.
Tricks of the team, tricks of the movie.
Yeah, trick of the I just been, while you've been talking, I've been looking at the location, you know, which is only on for about nearly 3 minutes. Ladykillers, Alien Studios locations then and now, and it looked better. It looked better then, you know. It's, you know, because time is, years have passed since this movie is made. You know, thinking it looks better then. You know, oh, look at those flats, they look terrible.
Yeah, well, it's just, you know,
my favorite part is, like I said earlier on, is when he's outside. You know, you see the shape of him. You know, and when she opens the door and looks up, and you just see his teeth. I love that part. I thought that was brilliant.
Well, it's a good actor, that's why.
I have not watched the remake and do not want to watch the remake. And by the way, I hate remakes. I don't see the point.
It's not often that remakes surpass the original, shall we say. We won't. We'll just gloss over that. Let's go to Susan and Alex.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it is as I obviously admitted, yeah, of course the police thought that she was sick. Of course, how many people in this movie are sick? And it's a comedy anyway. But I do like the, like I said, I thought it was interesting that, they didn't seem to do any investigating. They didn't seem to do any goals for money or anything like that. They didn't seem to really mean it. It's kind of like, but like I said, basically it is the actors. The actors have great careers. They deserve it. Like I said, the dialogue is good too. The plot, not my favorite. But like I said, it's a very interesting movie. It's a funny movie. It's also exciting as well, and it's also intelligent. I think that's the other issue too. Right? Everything nowadays is like a stunt or pressure or gag. It's okay to have a gag if it's done well, but you also have to have a limit. You can't go overboard with it. And that's the thing, is that there's very little in this movie that goes overboard. It doesn't. It's still very, very intelligent. And that's what is missing out here. There's very little intelligence in it. So just like a TV show that's gone wild. It's not based on really good acting and really good writing and really good direction. I mean, and like I said, it's very interesting. I can see why they wanted to remake it, but you have to.
Well, I enjoyed well, to be honest, I enjoyed the death scenes and all the heisters. I loved how they all ended up falling into the trains. I thought that was really a clever device, and I enjoyed the let's see. I enjoyed the hijinks of getting the suitcase full of the stolen money home to her house with the horse and then the police and then the chase, sort of a super slow moving chase. It was just amazing. Yeah, that was great. And I thought that I thought that the old biddies at the end, the women who were coming over, were super cool. And Petey Johnson, her character corralled them, and once she had sort of sussed it out, she became like a great hostess and a great villain herself. Anyway, it was fun. I enjoyed the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing.
Cool.
And it was good to see Alec Guinness and Peter Sellers, two very different comedy stylings. I mean, when you see like the mouse roar and stuff, you see that Peter Sellers has a lot of different personalities that he does, but he's so different in this. He's like sort of stayed and not over the top or whatever. But Alec Guinness, I can see what you guys are saying about him being, modeling his character, his demeanor, his style, his facial features after Alistair Sims. I thought that I can see that now. I never heard that. I never. But yeah, that's gotta be so. And was brilliant. Okay.
Oh,
What do you
yeah.
eat?
Cheers, thanks for that. So, yeah, it's there's so many good bits in it. I mean, the beginning, which was Wilberforce, is apologising to Jack Warner about her neighbour. Is it Amelia or I can't remember, something like that, going about aliens from outer space, you know, reporting that to the police. Also, the scenes where she's making the, filling the kettle up with water. Every time she has to bang the pipes with that great big mallet. Yeah, and the parrot scenes escaping, where Peter Sellers and Half Round, I think his character's name was, chasing the parrot. He goes through the chair, and you just say they're just all over the roof looking for trying to get the parrot. And as I say, where everybody ends up in the train, the scenes where they're holding the bodies over the over the wall. All you see him is talking, where they've got two legs sticking up over the wall every time. That just made me laugh. And they're like having a conversation, just holding two legs up. But yeah, it's a classic. It is a good, and it's British. What can you say? Need I say any more? Us Brits do it best, apparently. Don't we, Americans? Just nod. Just agree with me.
Yes.
There
We,
you go. Thank you.
we're in agreement with you.
Right then. We'll go scores. We'll go reverse this time. We'll go back to Susan and Alex. Scores and final say.
All right, I'll give it a 9.5. It was nearly perfect. It was super cool, and it was super funny. And yeah, I enjoyed the parrot scene too. Them up on the roof. I love how these hugely steepled roofs in London, Ealing, or wherever. They're just so dang dangerous, and people always want to do movies on top of them. It's just hilarious. It's like, let's add a rooftop scene because it's dangerous as heck. Anyway, here.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this. I think it's a 9 for the cast. But like I said, it also deserves to be very intelligent. It's not over the top, and I enjoy that. And it's like comedy. It makes a change. Today, maybe next day. You can be wild. It doesn't have to be like a cartoon show. It's very intelligent, very smart. I think people could actually see very eccentric people like this.
And,
So I appreciate it.
and how about you think in real life you'll be able to spend money with that?
No, I don't think so. I think too many years has gone by that I'm still on this stuff.
Okay,
And they wouldn't be saying nothing about that.
so you're not planning on trying one of these?
No, of course not. Okay, what are you talking about? You're making too much talk.
Stephen.
I'll have to give this a 9. A 9. Brilliant movie.
A 9 from Stephen. I'll do my score, seeing as Beep Dad just disappeared in a puff of smoke there. I'm going to give this I'm giving it a 10 because it's anything with Alec Guinness in it, anything with Peter Sellers in it for me. It's on, it's a 10 from me. And also as well, they work together in later years, don't they? And Made About Death, Alec Guinness and Peter Sellers are back together in that as well. But yeah, brilliant movie. 10 from me. We'll just see if Beef Dad's found that mouse up his trouser leg yet. Over to you, Beef Dad.
Yeah, but it's just here. And
You
it
bet
seems, it seems to be a bit disconcerted. It doesn't go up my trouser leg.
That would be more disconcerted.
Yes, that would be. So if I jump up and scream, you'll know what's happened. Yeah, the character you were thinking about was Hypatia, her neighbour.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's yeah, it's going to be I think a 9.5. Yeah.
And I know why you've knocked a half a point off because of the Herbert Lom.
Yeah, Herbert Lom.
It can't be a 10 every time, but it is from me. But there you go.
Yeah.
So we've enjoyed talking about the Ladykillers. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining us.
What about Stephen? We haven't had his.
Oh, we have.
Have we?
Yeah, you were behind the curtain doing stuff.
Oh, sorry.
You were playing with your mouse. Whatever cages you cream, I suppose. But so yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for being here. You guys out there, you know, if you want to join us, get in touch. Leave a comment below. If you've got suggestions of what you think we could talk about, you know, instead of just utter rubbish like we usually do, you know, let us know. But until next time, we'll be seeing you.